when you've got your brother right beside you, like some of my favorite shows we ever did, there were maybe three people there and we just did them for each other. You know what I mean? You can, like you'll hear the phrase, you can't take that away in a lot in our music because
Mhm.
with me and Sentence, like you can never take that away from us.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. The rap duo Metermaids are not from Rhode Island, but they do have a strong connection to the state. On this episode, I chat with Sentence and Swell about the origin of their group, the variation of sounds they achieve from album to album, and how they linked up with Strange Famous Records. Speaking of that, Metermaids will be performing at the Met in Pawtucket on June 8th, alongside labelmates Sage Francis, Cas One, Early Adopted, Mopes, Jesse the Tree, and Storm Davis. You're going to want to make sure you're in the room for this one, as they have some special stuff happening that evening. I will see you there. Thanks as always for checking this out. Enjoy the episode. Well, how did you two meet? Just because it seems, watching a lot of the Metermaids Mondays has really given a window into your relationship, seeing some of your past history, just seeing your chemistry on stage. You guys seem to have something that really clicks, that it's more than just like, a rap group, a rap duo. Like you guys, I mean, to me, it almost comes off like brotherly love between the two of you guys, and just like that kind of relationship, which, as you know, like doesn't always happen. It can be, much more professional and whatever else. So how did you two connect, and when did you start making music together?
Yeah, I mean, before then going down that road, I think that's what we do, is like we are just like best friends who make music, and like even if our music was garbage, we'd still be like up there, like just like enjoying each other's company and having fun. But like
Exactly.
So we met. Sean, you can take over in a second, but like I was living in Colorado, and I was going to move to New York. I knew it was happening soon, so I looked up a bunch of people on MySpace. I was like, "Oh, here's a rapper in New York. I'm gonna hit him up and be like, hey, I'm moving. I'm like, let's
we're dating ourselves, but it's all good. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, hey,
yeah.
And I'm like, hey, let's build. I'm gonna move there. Like, some people got back to me, some didn't. I saw this group called Metermaids, and I was like, Metermaids. That's a weird name. and then I was like, this one guy, this Metermaids, one guy is really confusing. But I hit him in my face, and I was like, if you don't know about old Metermaids, pre-me Metermaids, it was really, really good. Like, always been. I mean, like, no, seriously, like the hooks and stuff. Like, oh no, here comes the bad shit. It's still one of like my favorite hooks. So like, it was really good music. I hit him up on MySpace, and then I didn't hear anything back, and I moved to New York.
Swell is shaking his head. It's just so
no, it's been a theme on Metermaids Monday. Like with all the artists that we've talked to, like there was an era where everyone was your competition. You were such a baseline hater, because anybody's success, that should be my success. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like just total crab in a barrel mentality, which we've all found out, like isn't the case at all. You know what I mean? And it's fucking detrimental. So like, when I signed up for MySpace, the first message I ever got was from Sentence, and I checked his music out, and it was fucking dope. And I was like, and he's like, I'm looking for people in Brooklyn to link with, and I'm like, I don't want this dude to succeed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
my throws, you know. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, this guy's coming to New York. Fuck, like. But then, like, we had I tell everybody this story, and it's a testament to Sentence's character as a human. But we eventually, our friend broke. We all got together in Union Park one day, just after work, and Sentence was there. And after a half-hour conversation, when we were all leaving, like, I pointed at Sentence and I was like, "Yo, me and you are gonna be best friends." And he wasn't creeped out by that.
Oh, cool.
And then, yeah.
And that's it. And ever since then, we just been best friends. We've been making music. Like,
Yeah.
we started doing, we did like a collab track first. The first track we did together was Funk Terrorist, which came out on our first album, Nightlife. And we did Funk Terrorist. And then we went on tour together as separate acts. And like, I think like two or 3 days into the tour, we're like, man, we should just be a group. Like we shouldn't be doing this separately. And then, and like history was made. We just, from then on, we just, did everything as a group.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Metermaids EP that came out in 2006, was that just you, Swell, then, or is that...
that's the hating ass me that didn't respond to Sentence right there, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
No, but it's really like, I really appreciate your words, like with the way that you describe the relationship, because like, I don't know, life led to a period of time where we weren't in each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just on the music tip that it left like a tremendous hole in my life that I filled with like some non-productive stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so, you just feel double grateful getting this second chance, and you're like, well, now I appreciate every fucking minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we didn't have this thing. Like I didn't know how much that would affect me. Like, my life is, I text with my best friends again all day now. You know what I mean? Like I text Sage and Sentence and Pro and Jesse. Everybody gets 3 a.m. texts from me now. Like, fucking, but like, it like, I think that's the lesson the pandemic taught me, is that the only important thing in life really is the relationships that you have. Mm-hmm. And it's, modern life makes it way too easy for you to cut those or let those connections die. And so you have to prioritize that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, it's not easy. Everybody's tired after work. Like, we're all parents now. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have children. Like,
I have 3 kids. Yeah.
Oh my God. God bless, brother. God bless. It's tiring. You know what I mean? Like, but if you don't take that action to connect with the people that you love, like, you don't realize how important that is to your general happiness in life and just like satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Black Milk had a great quote about it. Like talking about how people will whine about their streaming numbers, but like, and I'm sure you see this with Living Room. Like, if a person watched that shit in Russia, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that is amazing. Like, there are people in other countries who are fans of you. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if it's 5 or 5,000. That's amazing. Yeah, like, so you just appreciate all of these little things that you didn't appreciate before, or didn't appreciate fully before. Mm-hmm. Sentence actually just like wrote a verse about this shit that like nails the topic like beyond, but yeah, I basically just summarized your whole verse right there.
Yeah, no, I mean that stuff is. I mean, it is something that definitely I've found comes with a little bit of age, just getting that kind of perspective. It's nice
Yeah.
being on the other side of that because yeah, it was, at least for me, it was tough. Like there was a lot of competition, seeing someone kind of like jump the ladder on you and just
Right.
getting resentful and for me there was a point where I didn't even like want to listen to music just because I was just like so bummed out
Exactly.
and just kind of out, and it
Exactly.
sucks getting to that place because it's again, so many interviews that I've done with people that just like the core of who I am that I need to do this. I mean, I've said it
Yeah.
time and time again. It doesn't really make any logical sense that like I still play in a band now. Like I just said, I have 3 young kids that are under the age of 10. Work full time, do this
Yep.
podcast, like I'm on a board, all this other kind of stuff. But it's like I need to play music, I need to put out records, I need to, do these things.
And like you're really good at this. You know what I mean? Like we can only control what we can control. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like maybe there's 5 people in England who are regular viewers, right? But like that's 5 people. You know what I mean? Like we're like this dude's fucking dope. Like there's like
yeah. No, well, I mean, it's cool that you two connected in that way and, started taking your music to that next level. But with that, especially even kind of that start, you both had your own styles. What was it like matching that stuff up? Because now it seems pretty seamless. But doing like talking to some other people, like I don't know if you know Toadstool and like Toad and the Stooligans and stuff like that, but like he has this amazing duo with Dan called Ronald Reagan, and he just talks about it's just a much different way of actually like writing. Both of them write their own verses, but when they're like writing together and doing the back and forth and doing some of that stuff, it's a much harder thing to do. So yeah, I just love to kind of hear like how you guys first connected. You're both these individual rappers, have your own styles and stuff like that. What was it like, pulling that stuff together so it's seamless and doesn't sound like 2 different rappers that are just on a beat? Because it's you guys are a cohesive duo now, obviously.
Thank you, brother.
I think we went through a lot of phases. Like, I mean, if you, at first, it was super organic. It wasn't like something we had to figure out.
Okay.
I think like because part of what we were doing is we were doing something new that wasn't in like his wheelhouse or mine. It's like we're doing a new kind of sound. And so since we were doing something new for both of us, we both had to adapt to something together. So it wasn't like him coming over to my side and kind of like figure out how to work with me or vice versa. It was like, let's both figure out how to make this a new thing. And like from there, we went through some other phases where we were a lot more kind of like back and forthy or like kind of like by We Brought Knives, I think we were doing a lot of just like each other's verses in different parts. It was like my verse, just like him coming in and him coming in his. And so like, at that point, I think we'd just been writing together for so long on everything that we were just kind of mind melding. And it was like, oh, I know I can hear him here, we would write our own stuff. So it wasn't like we were specifically, like jumping in on parts that we thought we'd like fit in best on, but it was just like, almost just like one kind of shared mindset style, I guess. Yeah, it was very easy.
Yeah. And like the only thing that I'd like to add to that is I feel like we finally fully figured it out with A Line in the Sky and the stuff that we've been writing recently. Like it's hard to write as a duo if you're going to try to write about something, right? If it's not like, if the chorus isn't just like, throw your hands in the air, anybody can rap about what they want. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to, tell a story or you're trying to get an emotion across, like, I think Sentence and I, like he said it really well. Like we did all these technical new things. And I think we figured out like that to be a duo, like you do have to be 2 distinct separate entities that just mesh well. You know what I mean? Like, so giving, like if anybody who listens to A Line in the Sky, like for the first time, people are saying, yo, this sentence kid can fucking rap. And like the thing for me is like in New York, in our scene, Sentence been that dude. You know what I mean? Sentence been that dude who featured on your friend's album who you're like, who the fuck is that, dude? Like, so it's like, like, I don't know, like, we both had room to let our styles breathe. And it's like, I guess it's a harmony ultimately. Like our voices are just in harmony some way about the same topic.
Yeah.
And I think like to talk about the stuff that we're doing now, and I know it's stupid to talk about music that's not out yet, but I think Align the Sky was kind of the intro to this new stuff that we've been doing. I think part of what we're doing now is just playing off each other's vibe, not so much lyrically, although that is there, but I think we just know each other so well that like if one person like starts a song, the other person doesn't need to like finish the thought of that song in the same linear way. It doesn't have to be this one path. It's like this was like the kind of like root that was put down, and from that there's so many different directions that something could go musically, you know, and like so like we're doing more of that now where it's kind of like just branches of the same tree.
Yeah, and it lets us bring in our homies too. Like, I don't know, Mopes is a dude who has always gotten it too. You know what I mean? He could have been a third meter maid, like Jesse, C's, Cas, like I'm egotistical in thinking that Metermaids brings out the best in Sage a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you listen to Sage's features on our songs, like, it's, just black belt fucking studied in the mountains with the master level rapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He is the man. Isn't that why he moved to Connecticut, to just go to the mountains and become like a
yes.
But you've kind of alluded to it, like your catalog of music has quite a varied sound, so from Nightlife, like a lot of the beats to me have just a much more of like a live band sound to them. You did the Smash Smash Bang EP, which is a little bit more aggressive to the sound, and like kind of a good transition into Rooftop Shake. So I mean, I guess I don't want to get too far ahead, but just looking at just what your overall vibe has been, it's been some of this like in your face aggressive stuff to A Line in the Sky. It's just a very I'll wait for that airplane to go by. Or whatever it is. Is it an airplane?
No, it's a big ass garbage truck on the streets of Brooklyn, baby.
Could you tell everyone in Brooklyn to be quiet, that you're recording a podcast?
I know. Right? I know.
Like, just yell out, I'm recording a podcast.
I don't want to seem like a diva.
Yeah. That fucking swell guy thinks he's all important, But yeah, to what you were just saying, A Line in the Sky, I know that you're working with different producers, but what Alexander Brown did, that it just has a much more chill vibe to it. There's a lot of features, but like, can you, I guess, talk a little bit about some of that early stuff too, as you were creating, was that like an intentional thing that you wanted to have that live band sound? You wanted to have that aggression to it? Can you just kind of speak about some of those first couple of releases as you together?
Yeah. Sentence, tell him.
No, you start. I'll jump in.
Okay. Yeah, no, man. We, like, Sentence, said it before in a way I had never thought about it before, but it's 100% true. Like, we met each other. I knew Sentence was that dude in the scene. He's like the illest rapper I know. He's still my favorite rapper. So it was like, we felt like if we were going to do something, like we had to do something better, like more than just like two dudes on a beat. And we also both like a lot of different kinds of music. You know what I mean? And like in New York at the time, it was like the heyday of the indie band, so we performed for a while with like an insanely dope live band that could like cover Thriller while we played and shit like that. Like, but no, we were absolutely trying to find, like, we were trying to carve a lane that, like, I would say Post Malone eventually carved, where like you can mix hip hop with other styles of music, and it can sound really dope. You know what I mean? Like Smash Smash Bang to me is like a fucking punk record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we recorded that shit. We were angry. That was like, because we had just gotten, like, our dreams crushed, thought we were getting a major label deal. Like, we did a residency where fucking Dade and Dash came out to it. The whole record label staff came out to it. We, everybody was telling us, "Are y'all ready? Or you better be ready. You're ready. Are you ready for this?" And then fucking, and then just fucking nothing happened. It was just all empty words. And, Sentence, like, you talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think that, it's funny to think about, like, the fact that we went after Nightlife, the first album, in like this really different kind of way, I think. And I think some of it worked and some of it didn't. But at the end of the day, we were trying to do some like anthemic rock hip hop sort of.
Yeah.
And like, I know Slow, remember back in the day, you'd always like pull these bands, like, we should do songs like I think you had like U2, Bruce Springsteen, Arcade Fire. You'd always be like, we should do something like this. And so like, these were the things that were like influencing some of the songs that we had. And like, and the fact we did this album, it was kind of different, and we did it, and it was polished, and it was like partially intended to help us try and get a record label. Like, this is what we were trying to do back then. And I think because it was what it was, it got the attention of the people it needed to get attention to. But then because it was what it was, they couldn't figure out what to do with it. And so
exactly.
That's why we ended up. So like, I think it was a success in some ways and a complete failure in others, and that's what got us all like riled up for Smash Smash Bang. So that was very deliberately like just a smash everything against the wall album, which I think is actually really dope.
There's no picture gonna do it any justice. No Polaroid 35mm or a digital snap. Kodachrome won't capture the moment. You won't own it. There's no bringing it back. In fact, you can save it on your videotape. It's not the same. The way the shot crops the frame. This is not just stop, drop, and aim. It's not the same. Cause we're taking it from the front to the back, to the side to side. It's time to drive. It's time to ride. So climb inside. But I'm alive. And I'ma live every day like it was my first. And it's in Brooklyn pretty. How she holds your fingers to the flames. She's screaming your name in the street, but the street doesn't hear your name. I don't want anybody to touch me. I've gone where you can't go. I've seen what you can't see. I know what you don't know. I've never been comfortable inside my skin. But now that I'm inside, I'm not coming back again. Blackout baby, no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. Blackout baby, no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. Blackout baby, no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. Blackout baby, no tomorrow.
We always try to do something that sounds like its own world, right? So like, none of our albums sound like a different album. I don't think any of our albums sound like anyone else's albums, whether that's good or bad. But like, so like, The Sky does not sound like, We Brought Knives, which is not going to sound like our next album. And so like, they're all supposed to be their own, their own like self-contained unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, so I mean, with Rooftop Shake, that was January 2011. That was your first album on Strange Famous. How did you connect with that label, with Strange Famous Records? Did you just have a relationship with Sage or anything like that?
Yeah, we had always been Strange Famous adjacent. Like, anytime a Strange Famous artist needed a show in New York, we were going to make sure they got a show in New York. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Like, I think we were the first, I'm pretty sure we were the first people who brought Mopes to New York, like, straight up, and he was, like he brought Storm and Poorly Drawn with him, but we were just super fans. You know what I mean? Like if you've seen Sage Francis perform, you've seen like a one of one, right? Like there's nobody else who's going to do that. And you know, like Mopes is still one of my favorite rappers. I don't think Strange Famous has put out a whack project. Like we were always around these cats because we fucking loved their music. You know what I mean? Like, and we really wanted to fucking, you know, like Strange Famous was the dream, like to be able to rep that flag, man. Like, and yeah, I think we just wore Sage down eventually, emotionally.
Oh, really? Like, were you guys like, we have this record, you should put this out? Like, were you like actively petitioning them, or?
I mean, I think we'd both known Sage for so long, and he probably like heard so much of our stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, I think he heard both my old crappy albums, and then like was so nice about them. Like he's always like so nice about his feedback, even though like even like to this day I'm like, oh, remember when I sent you my first album, it was garbage. It's like, no, it wasn't garbage. Like you're just like kind of getting your footing and learning and stuff. Like, oh, all right, it was that's nice.
I really like the artwork on that, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The track listing was fantastic on that.
Exactly.
But so I think like
you definitely say some raps.
There's definitely words on that album. Yeah, I heard them. Yeah.
I mean, so I think we had sent him some previous stuff. Like, I think, like, I mean, I know he'd heard, like, Smash Mouth Bang and Nightlife, but I don't know if he'd ever, like, pitched it to him, but I know he'd heard it. But yeah, I think we just known him for a long time, and then eventually something came out that was a fit, you know, and.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, 100%, like, Ninth Wonder is a great selling point, right? Like, the dude is fucking ill.
Rob Swift, I mean, we had
Rob Swift, and our boy M. Stein held it down just as hard as Ninth did on that record, to be honest. But you know, we definitely brought that to Sage. Like, hey, like, you know, through this, after getting our absolute asses kicked by the industry, the one good connection or two good connections that have come out of this are Ninth Wonder, who's as nice a dude as he is a producer. Like, exactly, like that was some of the funnest memories of my entire life, are being down there with Ninth Wonder. And God bless that man, and I wish him success in everything he does, because he was that wonderful of a human. And the same goes for Rob Swift. Rob Swift is the fucking man. So I think, like, we had been adjacent to Strange Famous for so long, and we finally, we had a record that had like a selling point outside of Metermaids, or, that would help Metermaids. And, but yeah, no, like, just like every artist talks about on Metermaids Monday, like, when we found out that we were part of Strange Famous, like, we had, we had won. That was it. You know what I mean? Like, those records could have sold like 2 a piece. And it's like, fuck it. We're with Strange Famous, dude. We get to ride in a van. Like, we get to claim this.
Yeah. That's cool. No, it's great what has been built, and really, like, just the family of that. There's some labels that can do that as well. Like Iodine Recordings does a good job of kind of like more punk and hardcore scene, where it seems like once you're part of that network, it's, they're just together. But yeah, it's great. It's great what Sage has built, and Storm has built with Strange Famous Records. And I mean, I guess just quick story for that. Like, so I was lucky enough to put out Jesse the Tree's first album, the first running of his cassette. So I've known him for a while, and
that makes you a fucking legend, because Jesse I'm
that's a great record. Space Demand.
Yes. That makes you a fucking legend, because Jesse is the shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yo,
we were just talking, and he's like, "Hey, man, I think I might sign to Strange Famous." And I was like, it was just this really cool conversation of just what that was like for him, and it was just cool to just kind of be on the other side hearing that, just, it meant so much to him. And it still means so much to him. I mean, you know him
man.
well, but it's really cool to see that. And it means more than just like, oh, there's some people that are going to put out my record.
Right.
And, this was that kind of start with it, so on Rooftop Shake, Sage does have a feature, Buck 65 has a feature on it as well. Yeah, it's a great record. Get Down is wild. Some really good stuff on that album.
Jump survivors, smudging hands on fine print, ducked on a blasting sirens, bust to crush the silence. I'm here to stay, make room, give me space. Stairway to the L train, I'm Jimmy Page. Parlor tricks, wolf packs and model clothes. Pocket full of change, see how far a dollar goes. Late night fire escape, smoking Jimmy hands. New York gritty commute, scoop the gypsy cab. Bang bang boogie said up jump the party. We bum rush the lobby but don't touch nobody. Eyes closed, quiet the hush kids with their fingers pressed up against the glass. Tough shit. In the spot they keep the system on blast, so the whispers fall back as long as the song lasts. But in the gaps hear the voices echo. Kill your drink and rock your headphones. Let's go. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt.
There was another few years we went to, We Brought Knives, which, and I guess as what you were saying, that's a comment on kind of the industry, right? Of like bringing knives to a gunfight and, kind of going into this very competitive, cutthroat, industry, when people are, fighting and scrapping for everything, but you guys just kind of took ownership of that, which is really cool. And you've always kind of seemed to have that that kind of attitude. I remember reading one of the press releases that you kind of always had this like Bad News Bears kind of perception of yourself, and
it's well earned.
yeah. But yeah, with that record, again, it was it's kind of just really owning that stuff, but yeah, it's just a great record. House on Fire would definitely stand out to me. Clarence Clemens was another, just like an epic closer. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that record, and then we'll kind of cover, more up to date stuff. But
just real quick, like that was your take on that record, like is exactly what we were going for, and that just made me so happy. So thank you for putting the thought into it. Like that just made me so happy. But yeah, no, I think, we had done Rooftop Shake, like we had gone out, Sage had been the man he always is and took us out. We played a bunch of shows with him. But indie rap was kind of dying at the time. You know what I mean? And we were getting older. I had kids. I had a kid at the time. So, there weren't going to be any national tours in the near future. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think we released that record, like, with the thought that it was going to be the last Metermaids record that we did. And that's why the Clarence Clemens video is us diving naked into the fucking Atlantic Ocean. You know what I mean? It's like, there's like a rebirth there. Like,
yeah.
Also, like, because your penis becomes the size of a baby's penis. that water was fucking freezing, and I like it. But no, like we thought that was gonna be it. So, and I think, like, I was just texting Sentence the other night. Just like, I think with that record, like I've never heard another hip hop duo do it before, but like we just wanted to see technically how a duo could tell a story. So you know, during my verse sentences, this voice is going to come in and I'm going to tell you the first part of a story and then Sentence is going to fucking close it out. And that's where the meaning will come from. You know, like I've never really heard anybody try to do that before. And like songs like Profiteer, like Sentence is the reason why any of that would land, his verse. And he wrote that by, you know, I don't give him a lot to work with. You know what I mean? In the beginning, like, so I'm really proud of that record. Like, I think it's a fucking good record. Like, I've never heard a duo, like, try to interchange voices like that. But I think to our detriment, and I remember reviews at the time saying, like, you can't really tell who's Sentence or who's Swell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, they were sort of holding it against us. You know what I mean? And like, I can totally feel that. Like, but, you know, everything we've done, like Sentence said, was deliberate, like trying something new. We just felt like together because the writing was so natural. Like, if he thought something was cool and I thought something was cool, we're going to try it.
Yeah. And also like that. I mean, all the albums, but especially I feel like We Brought Knives, everything we produced together. Like, so, I mean, M. Stein was our producer, but I guess we did this with all the albums, now that I'm saying it, but I felt like it was really a big part for We Brought Knives, where we were in the same room and saying, like, and We Brought Knives has this kind of like weird vibe to it, and it's kind of dark, and it's kind of like synthy and like, and I remember we would like be describing things and like sounds and feelings and stuff, and like so like finally like getting an arpeggiator, like trying to do all this stuff, like okay, yeah, that's it. Like, but like we couldn't really articulate until we heard it, and so like that was part of that, and like I'm trying to put myself back in that place, and it was kind of weird because for me that was sort of a dark album. Like I wasn't in a good place in my life. And like so like when I look back on it, like I kind of hear all this stuff where it's like, oh yeah, like this is like, I don't know, like it's some of the songs, especially like the B-side songs for me, the songs that are just like kind of tucked in between are my favorites, and they're the kind of like the deepest ones. I think I like that album.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely like it's a mood record.
But you're a lot of the stuff and listening to your discography, it's a lot of it is, to me, like it kind of comes across autobiographical, but you're just also like unafraid to talk about failure and talking about, some, like real emotions, if you want to call it that, just things that you don't usually hear, especially kind of like what you guys are talking about of like coming up probably in the New York hip hop scene of like, hey, here's what I'm afraid of, like rapping about that stuff. Like most people are like, I'm gonna like build themselves up and have these like major egos and create these personas of who they are and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, I was afraid as a kid, and here's why, and like, listen to me rap about it for 3 minutes, So like, but hearing about that stuff and just being able to identify with that, like again, it's taking that kind of risk, because it's. It's like listening to other styles of music. I mean, for me, I'm a big fan of like emo that came out like late '90s, early 2000s or whatever. I connected with that. Just like, oh, there's people that are kind of talking about these things, and it's what I can connect with for who I am. So like you guys touched on a lot of that, but again, at least for me, I just didn't like. And Strange Famous overall has that type of thing where they're just very honest. They're like, we're going to talk about depression. We're going to talk about this stuff, and not just about like I'm a better rapper than you. Though most, if all of you are better rappers than most rappers. But yeah, I don't know if you can, just kind of talk about like getting into that place, or again, like, was that something that you had to like work through of just being like, we're going out to shows and everyone's kind of talking about how good they are, and just being like, I'm going to do this other thing. Like, that seems like you got to take a leap of faith and just like be confident in who you are and what your skills are to go out and do that. And then, put these albums out and just be very vulnerable with that,
Yeah. I mean, like, I think, but that's like, to me, that's always been the beauty of being in a duo with my best friend, is that like, we've, especially during our thinking that we were going to get signed to a major record label days, like we played some shows we opened for some people and got booed because why the fuck would we be opening for Fabulous? You know what I'm saying? What Fabulous fan is coming away being like, yo, that Metermaids group was fucking sick. You know what I mean? Like fucking none of them. Yeah. But when you've got your brother right beside you, like some of my favorite shows we ever did, there were maybe 3 people there and we just did them for each other. You know what I mean? Like you can, you know, like you'll hear the phrase, you can't take that away, or like a lot in our music, because like with me and Sentence, like you could never take that away from us. You know what I mean? Like we could get fucking booed. We could both get beat up on stage by a heckler, like, but I'll have done it with my brother. You know what I mean? So I really don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah.
And I think that, like, I think part of the reason that we always gravitated towards that is because we kind of both came up on various kinds of music. It wasn't just hip hop, so we weren't just like using that as a reference for what we wanted to do. And so, and then at least speaking for myself, the hip hop that I did end up gravitating towards was like a lot of weird stuff. And so like it wasn't strange for me to like write like that. Or, I mean, we did some other stuff. Like, I mean, we did an album and we did an EP that never came out that was like just like shit talking and stuff, which well, you'll never hear him do a verse like this. So like he's good at it. But but like, you know, so it's fun to do. And actually lately I've been doing it on some other projects just for fun. But like,
that's cool.
I think it wasn't really like I don't know, it wasn't the reason we got into it. And like plenty of other people can do that and they can do it better. So
right.
You know, people ask us sometimes, like, oh, you were in New York, was it weird to like be not some like kind of typical rapper, I don't know, rapping about rapping or drugs or guns or something like that in New York. But it wasn't really like that because there's so many sub scenes there. So like all of our friends were doing weirdo rap, you know, so it wasn't like, unless we were opening for Fabulous or like something like that, and then it'd be totally out of place. But when we were just doing our shows with our friends, like everybody was doing that kind of thing. So it was really welcoming scene in that respect.
Yeah, no, and like yeah, for real, like our little scene, like back before gentrification. Again, I'm like just ripping off Sentence's verse right now, but like we like, you know, like our little scene, we could get 400 people into a venue. Like we played the Knitting Factory upstairs, which was a dream I had since I was like 18. You know what I mean? Like, we packed places out. So it was a weird mix, but once like, you know, once our attentions were back in the right place, like, and we made music that only we liked, we didn't care if other people liked it. Like, that's when we hooked up with Sage, and like that's been the story ever since. Like if you bring Sage a record and he likes it and wants to put it out, you already won. You know what I mean? Like, you already won. Like it's fucking Sage Francis we're talking about. Like if he thinks this shit is dope enough to put out on his label, are you kidding? Like
but yeah, after that record, I mean, you just said that was kind of intended to be the last record. Was that just with the places that you were? Like you were saying, Swell, you had a kid. Were you just like planning on that, just like putting on a shelf, just or just breaking up in a sense, or how was that? Because then again, A Line in the Sky was nearly 10 years later, and I know that's been discussed, but I'd like to kind of talk about the reemergence of that stuff. But yeah, was it? Because I know that, I guess what comes to mind is, you know, talking to Mopes, you know, that like Dangerfields, and was like, this is the end of Prolific, you know, like he knew that was just kind of like, as he was making that record, like this is going to be the last record that I make as Prolific or whatever, you know? So was that a similar thing? Like you just had that already in your minds?
But it wasn't like, when we were making it, it wasn't like, this is our last album, let's make the last album. It wasn't like that at all. But it was, we kind of like knew things had been changing in our lives. And I think that we were kind of feeling it like as this undercurrent. But it wasn't like the album's over, like, all right, that was fun. Like, you know, we're done. But just the way that life kind of happened after that was, like we did like one show after that came out, I think in 2016. in Providence, actually. And that was the last show that we did. And then I moved to Canada in 2017, and we were just kind of like, just out of touch, like personally and doing music. And it just kind of happened organically. It wasn't any like, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like because of animosity or anything. It was just this natural drift. And then at that point, I don't think either of us knew if we were going to make any music again. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't write. I didn't listen to hip hop. I was like completely out of it for years. Until we started doing A Line in the Sky.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like it, and it's just again like it. Going back to what I was saying earlier when we were talking, like if you don't prioritize these relationships in your life, even your brother, like he moved to Canada. That's like only an 8-hour drive. He didn't go to Spain. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But life, if you don't prioritize it, it goes away. And not until we started writing this new record did I even fully understand the hole that had left in my life.
Take it all, let the bittersweet dissolve on my tongue. Burn the house to ash, save it all in my lungs. Breaking down the pieces, the pretty things, the grimy bits, smash it on the ground. Gather around, see what's inside of it. Like, I'll keep high school real, all of it. I'll keep the Wu-Tang, the camouflage and goggle shit. The first kiss, the vodka, the awkwardness. I'll keep the prom, the sweaty palms, the politics. I'll keep my first records, first raps, whack beats. Makeshift gods, voice box records and rap beats. Sneaking out pieces, putting guts on the street. Jumping over fences, trying to duck the police. The day we watched Grandpa's last breath, I'll keep little James with the hand on his heart like the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll keep the painful times, the ones that made me toughen up. The times I fixed it all, the times I clearly fucked it up. The painkillers, the black eyes and broken teeth. Sometimes you just dive in, that's how you know it's deep. Let it go, let it go. Let it go like a house on fire. Let it go, let it go. Let it go like a house on fire. Let it go, let it go. Let it go like a house on fire. Let it go, let it go.
Can you talk a little bit about how A Line in the Sky came together, and working with Alexander Brown and Buddy Peace, and from what I had heard, and I checked out the DoD 45 interview, so shout out to Ty, and it's a great interview. Check that out as well. But you kind of touched on it there as well. But for those that haven't heard, just kind of talking about that sort of like organic step by step where like you, Swell, were part of the Alexander Brown record, Glow Kid, right? You had a feature on there, and then you just started to kind of build upon that. Can you kind of just share that? Oh yeah, exactly. Can you kind of just share that quick story of how working with a new producer and for Metermaids, and how that record came together? Because I mean, I love A Line in the Sky. I think that it's an amazing record. So I would love to talk more about that. But just leading into that of pulling Sentence back in, old with this.
But like those such kind words to say thank you. So, I hadn't rapped in 8 years or something, and Sage, just because he's an awesome dude, was like, yo, do you want to jump on this track with Jesse the Tree, who I had never met or heard of? And I heard his verse, and I was like, holy shit, this kid's dope. And I was like, this beat's dope. And of course, so I wrote my first verse in like 8 years or some shit. And then, eventually got in touch with AB, and he just started sending me beats. I was like, yo, your production on this album is ridiculous. I told him at the time, I was like, Glow Kid, like the impact this has will never be measured in record sales or anything like that. Like he reawoke like an entire label with that record. But he started sending me beats, and they were the most like, we talk about things being like seamless and easy, but the sound of his beats was exactly whatever was inside of me at that time. And I started fucking writing again. And eventually we wrote a song that was super dope, and I think AB was like, yo, we should see if Sentence wants to get on this, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, we should see if Sentence wants to get on this, like, and sent it to him, and then it just started from there, and like every other project like starts as an EP, right? Maybe we'll do 4 songs, 5 songs, and then like you end up with like the album that you're the most proud of in your entire life, like.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what that first song was that you sent to Sentence from A Line in the Sky?
It was All the Smoke.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was the first one me and A and B did where we were both like, whoa, this is kind of dope. And so we sent this Sentence, and then I got it to Sage. And I love about A Line in the Sky, like, because it's about us and all of our homies and everything that we've been through, but Sage's voice, even on songs he's not featured on, he's weaving in and out, like he's singing on hooks. Like,
okay.
That whole record is like just an homage to all of our homies and everything we've been through. And then, you know, like it ends up like about me and Sentence where it started, you know, and AB has continued to be like an amazing friend and is one of the most talented beat makers and engineers I've ever met in my life. And he's a wonderful human to boot, and we're gonna meet him for the first time
in Providence.
In Providence.
Oh, nice. Oh, is he coming up?
Yeah, he's gonna be behind us on stage, baby. Yeah.
That's a cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Yeah, likewise. I've just kind of chatted back and forth over the internet with that guy through Instagram, you know, so it'd be cool to meet him in person. That's wild. So, but yeah, I mean, just the overall like feel of the album, it definitely has that strange famous family, you know, there's a ton of features on it. Again, you've mentioned Sage Francis, Mopes, Cas One, C's Mikes, Jesse the Tree, early adopted.
Early, yeah.
I'm a novice at this stuff. Like, how do you guys figure that shit out? Like, how? Like, are you like? This is a dumb question. I'm gonna admit that, but it's a legit one. You know, like when you're making are you like here, like what you were like making this stuff, and you're like, oh, it'd be really cool if like Mopes is on this one, or you know, like, are you hearing people on certain tracks, or are you kind of like sending stuff to some people and they're like, oh, I'd like this one kind of rose to the top for them, and they, you know, just because it's such a big collection of people, it's not like, you know, on past records you're like, oh, I'm gonna put this feature on here, or again on Jesse's records, you know, like he has a lot of features as well, which seems like it's a big thing now with like the Strange Famous, that there's a lot of collaboration with this, that it's not just even like a feature, but it's like we are this like kind of big collective of you know, artists, and we're gonna work together and you know, make each other's work you know, better and elevate each other. So but yeah, so how did that stuff come together? Was it just like, yeah, I heard early on this one, check this out, you know?
Yeah, no, I think
okay.
so. Like,
yeah, I'm smarter than I thought. All right. Cool.
no, that is like, and that's one of the coolest questions I've ever been asked in an interview. But like, no, like, you know, like we would hear a beat and Sentence and I don't think we ever had a disagreement about who to reach out to. It's like, you know, like Still Life. It's like, yo, I want to, like, C's is gonna fucking crush this shit. You know what I mean? Like, Little Kid's Birthday, you're like, yo, Mopes is gonna say the funniest shit. He's gonna say the funniest shit in the world on that track, and then he did do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The seltzer lines in there, man, are just so on point.
Yeah, it's so on point.
And I gotta tell them, but yeah, like, I literally have gone to parties and not known the kids' names. Like, my wife was like, we gotta go to like my sister's, you know, like my niece's friend's party or something like that. I'm like, I have no idea why I'm here. So it's cool that you write that stuff. Again, it's just like, we're, you know, just honest. But
yeah, man, I think like I think our feeling is that all the people that love this music before, like now we're all the same age. We have kids, right? Like there's still shit to relate to. That's what music is, right? Like,
yeah, and the song "Quiet on the Set," that one really like stood out to me. I guess it's also because it's just been something that I've personally thought about for a long time. At least how it struck me of just kind of this the world that we live in, and kind of like the weight that gets put to a celebrity or a person's death versus someone else that, like, I don't know, I'm fortunate that I still have my dad, but like if my dad's gone, it's going to crush me more than, if this musician that I listen to, or just how those people are treated, or how they, get chance after chance just because they have that celebrity, like Michael Vick or whatever else, like if someone else does that in my neighborhood, they're fucking going to jail, like, and they're like ostracized, and they're like, that's the dude that's like a crazy dude, like, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what kind of came out to me. It's something that's been on top of my mind. So it was just cool to hear this in the song, because it doesn't really seem like I felt a little bit alone in that, that I'm just in my view of those things. So I'm glad to that it's not, so I'd love to just hear a little bit more about that particular track and what might have even kind of, was that first, inkling of like, we need to write a song about this kind of stuff,
The phrase "quiet on the set," like I spent the summer working as a key grip on film shoots. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And like, I heard talent say some foul shit to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck did I even hire you, you fucking moron? And then 3 seconds will pass and be like, all right, take 2, quiet on the set. You know what I mean? And you're like, what? What? But yeah, no, just like, all these celebrities get a pass for these things that our friends and family didn't get passes for. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has excuses as to why they become addicted to a substance. You know what I mean? Like, why is one person a scumbag and another person a tragic tale?
Yeah. I think the cool thing about that song is like it just showed how Swell wrote the first verse and the hook, and then it went to me, and then I went to Sage, and so like it's just like taking a concept and going like, okay, where is this going to go next? So like mine was different than Swell's, but kind of like somewhere in the same like world a little bit. And then it went to Sage, and Sage is like, you know what? I kind of thought about it like Quiet on the Set, like what we're not talking about with the pandemic. And it's like, okay, so he like
exactly,
which fits in, it's still the same concept, but which is what's so cool about working with like collaboratively with your friends, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like he always does, he like mixes both our styles and adds his style. Yeah. And like, is Sage Francis.
Quiet on the set. We need quiet on the set. Miles, James Brown, and John Lennon were abusive. A tempest in the soul creates the most amazing music. Didn't take much before Sinatra's little fuses blew. Dee Dee hooked for drugs, Johnny Paycheck tried to shoot it through. Marky Mark half blinded a man for being Asian. You stick to your own kind back then, that's how the streets had raised him. Tim Allen sold a half a Kia blow straight to the FBI. They say you never guess his past was checkered if you met the guy. A couple crooked steps, but now their work's considered canon. I guess my friends were just too weak to pull themselves out holes life had them dragged in. Never moved past their transgressions, busy putting food on plates. Would not consider them successful, they made too many mistakes. Well, isn't that the breaks? Quiet on the set.
And just with some of the production, Steady Drip, you kind of play with a lot of the panning. And I wanted to ask if you did that stuff on purpose, for people that don't have two sides of their speakers working in their car, just to kind of fuck with them, or having like a broken headphone, which I do. My headphones, not these ones, but my other ones broke, so I can only hear like on the right side, so I miss a lot of shit, But
then you hear it in someone else's car, and you're like, "Whoa, that was awesome!"
Yeah. No, but you did some super unique panning with that stuff too. It wasn't, at least to me, it wasn't just like this straight up, left, right kind of stuff. It kind of seemed like it like moved, like the way that it was done, like moved in a different, like behind me, it was pretty wild. So shout out to Alexander Brown for that stuff.
He is a dope engineer. Well, because I think that what we were trying to say, I think the only direction we gave him was we were trying to make it a little bit like, not psychedelic isn't the right word, but like something a little bit in that vein. So like, I think like he took a couple like liberties with like where, like how he was panning the effects and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, he's the genius with what he does. And so is Buddy Peace. Like, that like you could hear a version of that record without Buddy Peace, and it doesn't even sound the same, dude. Like Buddy Peace, like put the sprinkles on top, and it's like they're two different records. There's one without him, and then there's one with him in there. Right?
That's cool. Yeah, are there any other songs from that record that you want to shout out individually? Like, is there one that you were like most excited to make, and if so, like why?
I mean, I told the story. I'll tell the story the last time, but like the last song on the record like ties everything back together. I don't like. That record,
friends, right?
That record, I love all the songs. There's no skippers on that shit. But like, the first time that when Sentence sent his verse back, I was driving looking for a parking spot, and I had to pull over because I started weeping like uncontrollably, and like I've never forgotten that moment. And that's like I go back to that whenever I'm feeling down to get me back up again, to remember like I have all these wonderful things in my life. You know what I mean? Like that was that moment for me where I realized like this is what has been missing in my life. You know what I mean? Like this, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like that song is very emotional for me, and. So I don't know. I don't even listen to that song that much. I think All the Smoke is like just probably my favorite overall joint on that album. And I always say this every time. No, oh god, I forget about songs. Like every picture of me with like Mopes and Early. I love Early's. I mean I love Mopes' verse and I love Early's verse. And I remember when he laid it down and I heard it for the first time. I was like. I didn't really know his music. I didn't really know him. And
who's this, Mopes or
Early?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like and Early, like I didn't really know him, but he put his verse down, and for some reason it like really encapsulated the album to me. And
oh, cool.
So like, and he didn't have context. He didn't know the rest of the album, but for some reason all these other pieces fell into that verse for me. And so like, I don't know, like I really like that song too.
Yeah. No, did you guys get All the Smoke to become the weed anthem that you wanted? I remember Sage talked about that I the song is not about that, correct? But he was like, I hope that we can make this into like a summertime weed song.
Strain famous. Not yet, but
all right.
We're looking to get a strain made called Strain Famous.
All right.
And there's a
ton of now that it's legal in Rhode Island, there's a ton that's in like in Blackstone Valley. There's actually a huge one right behind the Met. I forgot what it's called. I don't do drugs or drink or anything like that, so it's not like in my mind. But yeah, I'm sure that you can make that stuff work. Sage can probably pull a couple of strings. There's stuff is happening, but yeah, that's a good idea,
Oh yeah.
There's also a podcast, like an NBA podcast about an NBA podcast that is called All the Smoke, I think. And so like old boy, so like old boy Rhymes keeps trying to get us to like, he's like, hit them up and give them the song. It'll be their new theme song. It's like, I don't think they're going to give a shit. But
yeah. That's cool. But yeah, I'd love to, talk about the show at the Met. But before we do that, I do want to get nostalgic and talk about your relationship to Providence. Talk about some of these shows, talk about, some of your favorite memories of coming to the city, hanging out with, your friends here. Did you get pizza anywhere? I always ask people what their favorite Rhode Island pizza. I'll throw it in there if you had any like good, food memories here. But like, what was, coming up to Rhode Island? Do you remember your first show here? You had, also mentioned that that was like the last show you had done prior to kind of taking that break. So yeah, just talk about Providence and what you guys think of our, small city in the sun here.
Yeah, man. No, the first person who brought us up was Storm Davis and Poorly Drawn People. And he did that out of love because we brought them down to Brooklyn for a dope show.
That's how we do it, It's good.
Yeah, but like, no, we've made that 4.5 hour drive like 600 times, like sometimes up and back in the same night.
Yeah.
One of those shows we brought up a female MC named Syra, who is now a Grammy Award winner. She won a Grammy with Skrillex. Like, that was crazy. We almost always crash at Storm Davis's place because he's the best. Yeah. And his lady is the best. And I feel like we frequent, like, it's lame, but we frequent a lot of like Denny's and like IHOPs and
all right.
The after show, after show special.
Yeah, whatever's open at 3 a.m. That's where we're going.
Cool.
I think Providence was the first place you ever had coffee, Sean. I think that.
No, it was.
You remember that?
Really? Yes.
Yeah.
I was 30 years old, dude. The first time I had coffee.
Wow.
and it was Dunkin' Donuts coffee. It's like, that's the first coffee you're gonna have.
No, but that's so Providence. I remember having the thought, damn, I'm tired and I'm cold. And then I was like, coffee. That's why people drink coffee.
Yeah.
And,
that's why New Englanders drink coffee because.
And it's stuck. I'm a coffee drinker to this day.
Yeah. Are you still a Dunkin' guy? Are you?
I love it. Yes, I drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
But yeah, man, we've had so many good shows like at the Met. Oh man, yeah, I remember the ones like there was the wrestling thing. What was the wrestling thing at the Met?
Oh, that was V's.
Yeah, going
at Fed. It was.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I forget what it was called off the top of my head now. Yeah, but it would be like this eclectic mix of music, with just different rap groups, indie groups,
Right, like some burlesque thrown in, all sorts of
exactly.
shit. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We came out and like I don't know if it was after our set or something, but we're like making fun of Epic Beard Man, and then like they came out like to like talk shit to us, and like there was this whole skit impromptu thing. That was hilarious. And then, like I always just think about the last show. Like now that we've been talking about it, like it was October 2016, and I remember like we took pictures backstage. We're like just like, and I didn't know at the time that this is like the last show I'm going to do for a decade, and this is the last time I'm going to make music with my friend for like 9 years. And it's like one of those things. Like if I did, I would have just like soaked every moment in, and like
100%.
I took, but I was with. This is when I had met my wife now, like the mother of my daughter, but she doesn't know me as a rapper. Like she didn't know that I really made music, and I like send her these pictures, like, hey, like this is my rap show I'm at, and like, and then I moved to Canada, and she never saw me perform for like 10 years, so like, the one memory that she had of like this
which is like, just like a real quick funny anecdote of that, like, after Strange Famous Fest, after our set, which was the first time Sentence's wife had gotten to see him perform, they were coming back to the green room to see us, and my wife turned to Sentence's wife and she said, he's pretty hot, huh? And Sentence's wife was like,
it's just funny. This thing that was such a like my part of my life for 20 something years, 30 something years at this point, and like she'd never seen it.
You're really fucking good at it. Yeah.
But
yeah, that's cool. So June 8th at the Met in Pawtucket, Sage Francis, Cas One, early adopted with special guest Mopes, Jesse the Tree, Storm Davis, Adam Trudell. What have you guys got planned for this one? You guys got any? You guys can drop here. You guys.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I
nice.
think we're actually we're doing some different stuff. We're doing some new stuff. We're doing some old stuff.
Cool.
We're doing our set a little bit differently than we have. But
nice.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
No,
but like for the first time in our careers, we're like imagining a set. So it'll like, I'm super excited for it. And like, anyone who was at Strange Famous Fest talked about it, like just the vibe, like the whole venue will feel the vibe. Like when it's just a bunch of cats who love each other, who make great music, like, it's transcendent.
And that's the thing now with like Strange Famous now, like that's what it is. Like you get a bunch of Strange Famous artists in the building at the same time, and it's just going to be like a good atmosphere and like a good vibe because everybody's into each other's music and into each other personally, and so like it's like a whole other level now, man. It's so fun now.
Yeah, no, like you're gonna come to the merch table and have like 9 different dudes hug you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everybody's like genuinely friends. Like it's not some surface level shit. Everybody loves each other and loves to be like chill and have just be so thankful to be in that same room at the same time.
And it's some of the Jesse, it's some of the funniest motherfuckers you could ever meet in your life. Too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, it's also just interesting because you do have these like deeply like intimate relationships with these people. Like you're creating music, you have this, but you're just kind of dotted around like the Northeast mostly, but like I know that's what it was like, when Mopes came up. He's from Rhode Island, obviously, but he gets back a couple times a year, but just getting to see people, like getting to see Sage and like hug Storm in person and just like be there, works with Jesse a lot, so just like getting to be in the same room with them, just it means something more. And it's like the show last year that Sage's return, I mean, the show was phenomenal. I'm glad that we were able to record that and make that mini doc. Please check that out on Strange Famous YouTube channel if people haven't seen it. And it was definitely there, but it was almost, I don't want to speak for them, but kind of like the show was almost secondary. Like they were just like, we're just gonna be here like hanging out, and then it's like, oh shit, we got to go rap for a couple hours, I'll be right back, whatever, but that just seemed like that's what they were just, they had that excitement with that, and there were the nerves for that. There's been a long time since Mopes has like performed. He did a couple of shows up in New Hampshire to kind of kick the rust off, but yeah, it's just cool. Storm messaged me earlier today that they're going to be doing the Strange Famous yard sale again this year. So
let's go.
Super awesome. Which, if you weren't at the show last year at the Met, basically Storm brings some like super rare pieces, like things that were like mock-ups for designs that either got made or not. Like I have a Strange Famous dad hat, like the one that is like the
my dad is strange.
No, not that one. It's the dad hat, but it's like the one that was made into like more of like the baseball cap, but it's like the Raiders kind of style that they have. But it's like, James, you can have this one. This is like one of 2. Like there's only 2 of these hats in the world, So like super rare, Strange Famous stuff. That you can get at like a super good deal. So like, if you're a fan, get in the room for that because it's just this like one-time thing. Stage is kind of pulling in that other stuff. So, or Storm is pulling in that stuff. I'll try to help bring some stuff in, which I did last year, like because Storm is just such a machine that it's hard to, not
He's
help
an
that
amazing-
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
He's an
like, let
amazing
me load
human
in.
being.
I'm also just not good at not doing stuff as a drummer. I'm like, let me load in. So it's weird being at rap shows when people don't have shit to load in,
It's a big part of why we do it.
Exactly. I'm so envious of you guys. You're like, we're going on tour in my Geo Metro,
Right.
But just a quick story again, piggybacking on your interview with DoD 45. You're coming up to Rhode Island. Are you gonna go Swell? Are you gonna go to the CVS corporate headquarters in Woonsocket and go kick down their door and let them know about your beef that you have with that kind of shit? You're gonna.
Yo, I found out that not only am I banned from that CVS, but my CVS record, like the Seinfeld episode, has a permanent note in it.
You have a wow,
which explains so many later interactions that I've had, dude. But when a pharmacist pulls up my shit, it's like, fuck this dude.
Oh man. All right. So
yes, right. I will be.
Yeah, all right. We don't want to blow up your spot with that stuff, kind of sneak attack at the corporate headquarters at CVS, but no, awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to that. So everyone, please make it to the Met June 8th. Tickets are available now at themetri.com, or just Google it, or just go to any of the artists' Facebook page, Instagram pages. Follow all of them. Follow Strange Famous Records. Follow Metermaids on Twitter, on Instagram. Buy their music. It's available on Bandcamp. A Line in the Sky is available on vinyl. It looks beautiful. You can get that at strangefamous.com. It's this cool, like, purple color. So support them. But, just, one last question that I'll ask each of you. It's how I wrap up every interview. But what is your greatest musical accomplishment to this point?
Wow. Shit. Should have prepared for this one. Honestly, man, I think it's Strange Famous Fest. I don't know if that's an accomplishment, but as far as like a moment, that's kind of the high watermark for me right now. I think that it was, especially because like we had just gone through this getting back together to make A Line in the Sky. So I was freshly like aware of how important music was to me and how important being with my friends is to me. And then to get to Denver and meet up with everybody and feel the energy and perform and watch my friends perform. And then like just at the end of the show, be on stage with like this, unbelievable kind of like, crowd and, excitement. Like, I don't know. I don't think it gets better than that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just being part of something more, more than like just that.
Yeah.
And the fact that what everybody mentioned was how good the vibe was. There wasn't a lull. Like, that was an all-day festival. Like, that could have, it was sunny and hot out. Like, that could have fucked people up. They could have left. It got better. Like, it was just a magical thing. And I'll just add to that. Like, to me, my proudest musical accomplishment is, like, with Strange Famous and just the longevity. Like, no one would have thought Strange Famous would be having the festival in 2023. You know what I mean? 10 years ago. And no one would be thinking that we would have a packed out show at the Met in 2024. Like, that's going to be super dope. Like, like it's never been like the sexiest or the coolest group of rappers, but like, no one's going to assault you or like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's good peoples, and that's why we're still here, and that's why we still fuck with each other.
Yeah.
Well, Swell, Sentence, thank you guys. This has been super cool to talk about this stuff and learn a little bit more about your history and connection to Rhode Island. And just shout out the show that's coming up soon. So see you guys soon. See you at the Met.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I left New York and crossed the border on some incognito. No one noticed, disappeared and didn't dip the needle. Feel like a spaceman studying some distant people. Feel like folks here think I flew here on a frickin' eagle. Out of sight, out of mind, thanks for asking, doing fine. My universe is alternate, and this one you don't even try. Scream and bleed him dry, last time he was seen alive. Howling at the rain, it's strange, he seemed like such a peaceful guy. Gamma rays deflected off the golden boy. Safe to say all previous agreements are all null and void. Just want some magic that the truth can't offer. Like some possum washed up on the beach we all think is a chupacabra. Nothing finer than a mental trudge through muck and mire. Guns for hire everywhere and pumpkin pie here's none the wiser. Double life for part of me's been winging it, just cutting wires. Other parts been busting wheelies, jumping over trucks on fire. Pass, but you can't have it back. Best friend lost his dad the same exact way that I lost my dad. Straight out the blue, nothing anyone could do. Then before 2 months had passed, his mama passed too. Fuck you. If that shit offended you, then probably it was meant for you. Mic check 1, 2. One letter, too many people descended to. I've been banned from a CVS. Told the dentist to duck when he sees me next. Adult contemporary, dangerous and scary. The gravity in Charlie Rose's speech. Actually, he's a horny old freak. There's a war going on outside, no one is safe from. I'm Lieutenant Dan when the hurricane comes.
On a P and Calvin, I'd love to build waters in the scene once I release my album. Free the falcon from the cemetery in my dreams. Peace to Malcolm, stay necessary by any means. Set the scene like a low-budget community theater. Just let me be, don't ever mess with a dude cause he's weirder. That shit is ill-advised, and you've epitomized the baby who gets sent to sleep weekly in a crib of lies. From 9 to 5, I call in sick while claiming overtime. My union can't be busted, sucker. You know I told the line with an ingrown nail. You couldn't tug out with a boat. If you did, it go straight into your coffin and it wouldn't float. Let that sink in while you're stuffed into the casket. With your Timbo boots, Jesus piece and puffy jacket. We're death merchants, this industry is such a racket. While you're rolling over in that joint, puff, puff, pass it. Puff, puff, pass. But you can't have it back. I want all the soul.
We do play stuff that isn't necessarily available immediately by walking into the nearest record store. You're going to have to do a little searching and